Tá sem goleiro Santos, o João Paulo vem aqui no meio do campo. E aí vem a batida pro gol do Lucero. E aí vem a batida pro gol do Lucero.
Once upon a time, Santos FC wasn't just a club, it was the club. Pele's playground. The team showed the world how beautiful Brazilian football could be. They didn't just win trophies, they defined an era. Fast forward now, Santos is now bankrupted, relegated in the shadow of its former glory. Here's the brutal truth about how the kings of Brazil destroyed themselves, step by step. Picture Brazil in the 1960s. Poverty, political unrest, but on the football pitch, magic. Santos FC wasn't just a football club, it was Brazil's passport to global respect. This tiny club from a port city of Santos didn't even have European money, but they had Pele, the greatest player to ever lace up boots. With him came an attacking force that was terrified of the world. Coutinho with his partner in crime, Pepe with the lethal winger Tito, Gleimar, Claudio, legends who played free-flowing and joyful football which made crowds stand for hours just to catch this. Between 1956 and 1974, Santos won everything. 6 Brazilian championships, 2 Copa Libertadores, and 2 international cups, beating Europe's best like Benfica and AC Milan. They didn't just win, they toured the world. Santos was like a traveling circus of goals. Europe, Africa, Asia, they played everywhere, filling up stadiums from New York to Lagos. Countries literally paid Santos to show up because Pele alone was a one-man economy. It got to a point where the Brazilian government declared Pele a national treasure, legally blocking him from moving to Europe. Santos knew if he left, so did the club's soul and cash machine. So they protected him like gold, and in return, Pele stayed loyal, scoring over 1,000 goals for the club, dragging Santos from obscurity to the peak of world football. They beat Benfica in Lisbon 5-2. Pele tore them apart so badly that Bezio, the European golden boy from Mozambique, called him the greatest ever footballer. AC Milan the same fate. Santos showed the world that South America could dominate Europe, not the other way around. Here's one problem with Santos. They built their entire club identity around one man. No succession plan, no modern infrastructure, no sustainable revenue streams beyond touring and selling tickets to watch Pele. They didn't care about TV deals or smart financial management. Pele was the business plan. So if Pele would leave, so gone their football empire. When Pele hung up his boots, Santos needed a new miracle. They didn't have European TV money, mega sponsors, or billionaire owners. They had one thing left, is their academy. If Santos couldn't be Europe's equal on the field, they could just feed Europe its stars instead. And for a while, it worked actually, where the club was a conveyor belt for wonder kids like Robinho, who was mentioned as the new Pele, Diego, the genius midfielder, Neymar, the boy who can dribble the world, and Rodrigo, Real Madrid's next thing. Their formula was simple: find street kids with outrageous flair, polish them just enough, hype them up for the world, and then cash out when they go to Europe. Santos treated these kids like lottery tickets, not building blocks. Robinho came first. In the early 2000s, he was unstoppable. Flip-flaps, bicycle kicks, toe pokes past grown men. But Santos couldn't hold him. Real Madrid came swooping in. The club pocketed a chunk of cash, but mismanaged it like amateurs. Bad contracts, useless signings, boardroom leaks. The money just vanished out of nowhere, but it was mostly due to Santos's corruption. Next came Neymar, the golden child. By the time he was 18, every club in Europe was begging him. Santos tried to squeeze every penny, but instead they sparked one of football's messiest transfer sagas ever. Barcelona got Neymar for what looked like to be a record fee, but after backroom deals and hidden agent cuts and lawsuits, the truth came out. Santos saw only a fraction of the cash that they should have had. Neymar left the lawsuits trailing him. Santos got headlines but not security. They kept the same repeating cycle. Sell a star, waste money, patch holes with agent overpaid players. Robinho even came back for a second run, but he was much older and slower, but the director sold fans into nostalgia instead of progress. Same with other ex-legends. And when you live off your academy, you have to protect it, invest in facilities, coaches, and scouts. But Santos didn't modernize. They thought talent would just appear forever. As a result, the other Brazilian clubs caught up. Sao Paulo, Palmeiras, Flamengo built better academies, hired some smarter scouts, and locked in young players into smart deals, and sold them on with clauses that protected the club and the player. Brazilian football is notorious for club presidents who think they're kings, and Santos is one of the worst examples. They elect a new president every few years, and each new king promises big signings, big trophies, and big dreams. But behind the scenes, it's the same old playbook. Pile up enough debt to stay popular, pay ridiculous salaries for over-the-hill players to win votes, ignore long-term planning, and get caught in lawsuits when reality hits. By the time the next president steps in, they inherited the financial ticking time bomb, so they pushed the same on lies to survive. And also, transfer was bad. It got so bad with them transferring new players that they can't pay that FIFA had to step in. In the recent years, Santos was banned multiple times from signing players because they can't simply pay what they owed to other clubs, agents, and ex-players. They bought Venezuelan midfielder Setodo, then they didn't pay his old club, then agreed on the transfer fee. As the debt grew, interest piled on, and FIFA had to slam the door shut. Pay up or forget about new signings. In a global market where smart clubs plan ahead, Santos can't even pay last season's bills. After doing this for multiple years now, at this point decades, the writing on the wall for years, but in 2023, the nightmare became real. Santos FC, Pele's club, Neymar's first club, gets relegated for the first time in its 111-year history. This wasn't a fluke, it was a death by 1,000 cuts, bad president, corrupt deals, failure to plan for the future. The academy can't bail them out forever. When the money dries up, reality hits hard. Santos became a cautionary tale. It doesn't matter how big your history is. If you run a club like a circus, you will fail like anyone else. Against all odds, Santos clawed their way back up. 1 year of playing Serie B football, buses to tiny stadiums, empty seats, second division humiliation for the club that once toured the world with Pele. Promotion came fast, but let's be honest, it had to. Santos had too much talent at a youth level to stay down forever. Even half broken, they're still bigger than most second division clubs teams combined. Promotion papers over the cracks for now. The depth's still there. The lawsuits still there, the incompetent suits still there. Sure, more TV money was back in the Serie A. Sponsors breathe a fresh sigh of relief, but one season in the second tier doesn't erase a decade of clueless leadership and backroom chaos. If anything, it just makes it worse. The pressure is higher and the margin for error is smaller. Santos will eventually have to sell because they have to. Another Neymar, another Rodrigo, it's the same plan that dug the hole in the first place. The board still relies on the next prodigy to come save them from bankruptcy. The next gem will pay the old debts, plug the new holes, hush the fans for the next season. When the cash comes in, the same cycle. Short-term panic buys, veteran mercenaries on fat contracts, no modern facilities, no plan to compete with Flamengo or Palmeiras over a full season. It stings even more that Pele is gone now. No final whistle, no last roar at the Villa Belmiro to lift them up. His statue still stands, the murals are fresh paint, but the king is dead, and the men who run his house think memories pay the bills. They don't. The family show up, they always do. The white shirts, the drums, the chants for better days, but Santos still survives off Miracle Kids and nostalgia, and they will always stay on the edge of the cliff. Promotion isn't salvation, it's just the last thing and the last chance to do something right or die for real.